Thank you, Neil. Here's what's happening in the region. Scores of Venezuelan asylum seekers flocked San Fernando in Trinidad and Tobago Thursday to provide their personal information to the Living Water Community, a church organization. The Express reported that the non-governmental organization has served as an implementing partner for the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees for over 2 decades and is the only organization in Trinidad and Tobago that works with persons in need of international protection and other categories of vulnerable migrants. Last week, National Security Minister Stuart Young announced that Venezuelan nationals in the country can register with the state to access limited public services between May 31st and June 14. Young said that the registration process should eliminate the exploitation that some Venezuelan nationals are currently subjected to from local companies. President of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, says he has instructed the police to take urgent measures to deal with the spate of criminal activities in the French-speaking CARICOM country. His disclosure comes after 2 men were stoned to death after fatally shooting a forest officer during a botched robbery on Tuesday. Media reports said that 3 armed bandits had attacked and robbed a depot of food supplies in Delmas when they shot and killed the forest officer as they made their getaway. The Trump administration on Wednesday imposed new sanctions and other punitive measures on Cuba and Venezuela, seeking to ratchet up U.S. pressure on Havana to end its support for Venezuela's socialist president Nicolas Maduro. Speaking to a Cuban exile group in Miami, National Security Advisor John Bolton said the United States was targeting Cuba's military and intelligence services, including a military-owned airline, for additional sanctions, and was tightening travel and trade restrictions against the island. Reuters reported that the Cuban government, which could be hindered in attracting new foreign investment, denounced it as an attack on international law. Internationally, U.S. President Donald Trump tried to get the man appointed to investigate his links to Russia fired, a long-awaited report has revealed. The BBC reported that details are starting to emerge about the 448-page redacted document collated by Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Mr. Trump's legal team earlier described the report as a total victory. It comes as the country's top lawyer, William Barr, faces heavy criticism of his handling of the report's release. Mr. Mueller's report says he has found no criminal conspiracy between Mr. Trump's campaign and Russia, but did not reach a concrete legal conclusion about whether the president obstructed justice. The report says Mr. Trump called Don McCann, a former White House lawyer, in June 2017 to try to get Mr. Mueller removed over alleged conflicts of interest. Mr. McCann told the special counsel he resigned after feeling trapped because he did not plan to follow the president's directive and would not have known what to say to Mr. Trump if he had called again. North Korea has demanded the removal of U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo from nuclear talks, accusing him of talking nonsense and being reckless. The BBC reported that further talks would be lousy if Mr. Pompeo was involved, asking that he be replaced by someone more careful. It comes after North Korea said it had tested a new tactical guided weapon. Mr. Pompeo visited North Korea 4 times last year, including for a meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Last week, during a U.S. Senate subcommittee hearing, Mr. Pompeo was asked if he would agree with descriptions of Mr. Kim as a tyrant, and he responded in the affirmative. Pope Francis washed and kissed the feet of 12 prisoners on Thursday at a traditional service, telling them to shun any inmate hierarchy structure or law of the strongest and to help each other instead. Reuters reported it is the 5th time since his election in 2013 that he has held the service, which commemorates Jesus' gesture of humility toward his apostles on the night before he died in jail. Francis told the inmates that in Jesus' time, washing the feet of visitors was the job of slaves and servants. And that brings us to the end of regional and international headlines. Back to you, Neil.